Hello, we're trying something a little different with the recap this week. I didn't feel like writing, so I'm making a little video. And we can talk a little bit about it on the media. First story this week was about Timothy Geithner. Bob did it. I gotta be honest, this whole economy thing, I just kind of quit paying attention. Although Bob did make a reference to somebody being benched. You can tell he's been watching the tournament. Which, alas, poor Tigers got knocked out last week. It was a roller derby, so bummer there. But I guess boomer sooner. Fear the wagon. Anyway, so kind of blinked out during Bob's story. Sorry, Bob, but started paying attention again when Brooke started talking about this guy from Canada who was on a message board online, and he saw that this British kid was planning to get a can of gasoline and burn down his school. Not the Canadian guy, but the British guy who was in high school. So the Canadian decided that he was going to take some action, call the police, be a good citizen. He realized he only had about an hour because of the time difference, so he called the police in London and found the British kid's real name and what school he went to, because the kid totally didn't cover his tracks very well, and was able to get the information to the police in time for them to stop him from causing some major havoc. The Canadian guy was totally charming. He said a boot. And this kind of brought Brooke around to talking about the bystander effect, which is thing that you probably learned about in college sociology, talking about like how the more people that are standing around watching something happen, the less likely anybody is to do anything about it. So like if you have a big group, somebody's always going to wait for someone else to do it. And not the case here, which is awesome. But it's a nice segue into a story on Kitty Genovese, this woman who was murdered in New York City. It's kind of the story that everybody talks about when they talk about the bystander effect. But anyway, the attack was like at 3 a.m. on the coldest night of the year, and only one person, according to this interview that Brooke does, could have really witnessed the attack, but that guy was too drunk and didn't want to get involved because he was super drunk. There were other people around, and people did call the cops. But pretty much the theory is that with the Kitty Genovese thing that's supposed to represent all of the, kind of groupthink and the bystander effect, it doesn't really work because those people weren't a cohesive group. It was a bunch of different people, in their own apartments doing their own thing, not like a bunch of people just standing around watching this poor woman get stabbed a bunch of times. So interesting parallels between that and the Canadian Crime Stopper. Brooke does both stories. They're both pretty quality. I was definitely interested, and I think that college sociology classes should listen to both. I'm thinking about emailing it to my old professors. Anyway, following that up, there's a story about Google Book Search. It's this new Google thing that's going to put the full text of books that are either after they're out of copyright or out of print. They're going to get the full text of these books together on Google for the first time, and it seems like it's a really good idea, except that Google could charge a ridiculous amount for it. Scholarly journals already do that, but, people are going to get used to this information for free. It's going to be like information crack. People are going to be, like, their minds are going to be blown. So, hey, Google, don't charge the dollar bills for it. Alright, and the episode wraps up on kind of a fun note. Bob interviews Steve Call, this guy who is reading the entire economic stimulus bill. See, this is a story on the economy I can totally get behind. He's reading the entire thing, and he's blogging it for the New Yorker. The thing is like 400 pages long, and he was inspired by this blogger for sleep, but we'll talk about him in a minute. So he's reading the stimulus bill, and he's trying to, he's finding all the hidden drama and secret reorganization plans after economic recovery. And I mean, it's not really a secret, it's public record, but who wants to read 400 pages of economic stimulus? Bob apparently does. He's talking about how this could be awesome beach reading, and he's totally a man after my own dorky heart. It's kind of cute. He's like, this is beach reading. I know. Anyway, the whole blog that Steve Call is working on about the stimulus bill is a kind of inspired by David Platts from Slate, who blogged the Bible, and that's a cool story. It's worth listening to. Brooke and David start talking about the Jews wandering in the woods and a massive bris, which is where the circumcision happens. I don't know, snip snip. Where that happens, and I guess they didn't do it while they were wandering in the woods, and then they did it all at once when they got done, and there was a big pile of evidence of that happening. And they talk about like taking their kids there on vacation, and Brooke is like, "No, honey, don't pick it up," and David Platts is like, "Kid, don't put that in your mouth," and it's hilarious and gross, and I'm glad Brooke kind of has the sense of humor of like 12-year-old like I do. Yeah, so this is our first video on the media recap. Sorry I don't have any like props or anything. We will link to the episode on the regular blog post. Let us know if you like it or if you hate it. We might consider doing this more in the future. We've been looking for a way to get more video in. So tell me what you think. And y'all have a great week. Bye.